The following special presentation is an HGTV World Garden Tour, only on Home and Garden Television.
Bali, Indonesia, a lush, mystical island with a variety of beautiful gardens, from the sacred past to modern innovation, the exotic to the spectacular. These are the gardens of Bali. Bali is as beautiful as it is fertile. Its year-round tropical climate and rich volcanic soil makes the whole island seem like one flowering garden. Located on the Indonesian archipelago in Southeast Asia, the Hindu inhabitants fled to Bali centuries ago and set up a culture that revolves around their religion and temples.
Bali means wali, which means offering. The religion here is Bhakti Yoga, which is the yoga of ceremonies, and all those ceremonies need woven artifacts and, ritual paraphernalia. So the garden then had to sort of provide for that. At the same time, one imagines that, Bali always had a very high aesthetic, that people were very, very creative, and there was a great love for beauty. The goddess of the arts and literature, Dewi Saraswati, is particularly revered in Bali. So you add all that into the sort of cosmic Bali soup, and you come up with an amazing launching pad for amazing gardens.
This is the Pura Ulan Danu, a temple on the shores of Lake Bataan. Located in the sacred center of Bali, this temple is dedicated to the lake goddess of fertility, Dewi Danu, and Vishnu, who is god of the waters. It is also a holy site for floral festivals, such as Nipai, the Balinese New Year. Pura Ulan Danu is a fairly unique temple garden because it is located on a natural volcanic lake, but it shares the essential characteristics of a Balinese temple garden.
There has to be the towering gate, there has to be the courtyard wall that defines the different courts, the different levels of the Hindu Balinese universe. So the outside the temple, where you might have a couple of huge banyan trees, is the area for cockfights and for the fairground activities, which are offerings to the humans. You go in and there's a sort of priest courtyard, then there's the god's courtyard, and each of them have a particular sort of landscape look, but it defers to the activities of the temple, not just to aesthetics. But there is a sort of building code that guarantees a beautiful aesthetic. The eaves have to be set back from walls.
Pura Ulan Danu is one of two main temples which regulates the water flow from the lakes into the irrigation ditches during the dry season. At 5,600 feet above sea level, the climate is cooler than the lower beach areas, and the vegetation differs. The lake covers a volcano that last erupted in 1974. This temple was built after the Great Eruption of 1927. While the waters of Lake Bataan, rich in volcanic nutrients, keep Bali green, the traditional Balinese temple garden is sparse, with one or two trees, hard-packed bare earth, and a few flowers. This is the temple Pura Kehen in central Bali. The facade of the temple is treasured for its hanging gardens, filled with tropical plants and accentuated with Balinese artistic ornaments. The courtyard contains a striking specimen of a sacred banyan tree, known for its multiple trunks and spaghetti roots, which seem to hang from midair. These trees are said to be the haunts of invisible spirits, and they have energy so strong that temples are built around them. This ancient banyan tree also holds the bell tower. The walls of the shrine are decorated with prized pieces of porcelain, sold by a Chinese merchant centuries ago. In the sacred town of Ubud, two rivers meet to form the river Champuan, which means convergence. This location, surrounded by freshwater springs and lush vegetation, provided an ideal spot for a beautiful temple called Ravine Garden.
It's a fabulous garden because, you know, the English say that a garden is a mix between the natural and the man-made. So here we have, you know, often a great background of trees from a graveyard or an area that's untended and natural. Then the beautiful courtyard wall, which is often beautifully proportioned and carved, and in tall meirus, all of these folly buildings, which are the shrines, with ornamental trees dotted through the courtyard. So the thing is already a beautiful space that's peopled with statuary in such a tight, almost Chinese or Japanese courtyard composition that it creates that unique Balinese decorative, romantic, poetic courtyard, which is the Balinese temple courtyard.
These are the famous floating pavilion gardens at Klong Kong in eastern Bali. The floating pavilion sits in the middle of an expansive moat. It is all that is left of a large 18th century palace that was destroyed in the wars with the invading Dutch colonists in 1908. This floating pavilion was used by the royal family as a place to relax and enjoy the cool mountains.
The concept of the Hindu god king was introduced to Bali, say, in the 10th or 11th century from Java. And since then, there's always been the notion of the palace as the leader in the latest fashion trends from overseas states. And people have been looking to the Rajas to provide, you know, taste and examples of ways of decorating things for a very long time.
The area of Klung Kung is famous for traditional arts, including intricate wood carvings. The area, also known for painting, rivals the other great art centers of Bali. These ceilings depict the punishment of social deviance and the reward for honest men and women.
The Golden Age in the 18th, 19th centuries saw the kings vying for the best garden, and they did formal European gardens with great reflecting ponds and fountains and pavilions within a Balinese decorative architectural context. And the results are very splendid.
When we come back, we'll meet a man who has created his own lush oasis in the gardens of Bali.
Brought to you by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile retailers.
We think an SUV should be less status symbol and more truck. So you'll find a truck-based steel frame under every Jimmy to give it backbone and make it as solid and true as a GMC truck. And right now, get this solid deal. Buy a Jimmy and get $2,500 cash back during the GMC Summer Sell Down. Your GMC dealer's got plenty of Jimmys on hand. But hurry, because while backbone will always be standard on Jimmy, this great deal won't. Jimmy by GMC.
Get your home ready for winter with a great fall fix-up live on HGTV. Ron Hazelton, Pat Simpson, and Jody Mark show you how to save money and stay comfortable this winter. Home experts will answer viewer questions live. Learn about insulation, weather stripping, draft detection, and caulking. How to prevent frozen pipes and clogged gutters.
What I've got right here are gutter guards.
Plus, winter maintenance tips for your house, condo, or apartment. Don't miss the great fall fix-up live. Thursday night at 8 on HGTV, Home and Garden Television.
Welcome back to the Gardens of Bali. The mystical town of Ubud is a center of a flourishing art colony and home to the Agung Rai Museum of Art. Located on the museum's grounds are the Gardens of Arma. These lovely gardens were the vision of one man.
I dreamed it about when I was 20 years old, you know, because when I was a kid, I dreamed to be a painter, artist, like most people in the villages. But I can't do painting, you know, so I've become very frustrated, you know.
Agung Rai, the frustrated artist, soon channeled his energy towards creating a worldwide market for lovely Balinese art. He then built beautiful gardens and museum buildings for the best of this art. and named it ARMA, the Agung Rai Museum of Art. The arts have flourished in Bali for over 500 years, ever since Hindu craftsmen and performers fled the Muslim invasion of their island of Java and found refuge in the mountains of Bali. Since then, Bali has become renowned for its tradition of carving, painting, and crafting of land into beautiful scenery. This gorgeous landscape inspired many foreign artists to come to Bali. In 1927, the first prominent foreign artist to settle in this bucolic setting just outside of Ubud was German artist Walter Spies. He was soon joined by other artists who were also inspired by the countryside. Here they built a retreat in the lush hillside. Before Spies, the Balinese did not have a word for artist. Art was just a natural part of their life, and it was expressed in paintings and their farm terrace. The Balinese have a centuries-old tradition of sculpting the land in an artistic way, thereby creating beauty. Spies recognized the beauty of the farmer's work and introduced the concept of landscape painting.
Balinese didn't learn a lot from Spies. They were like flowers and bees, you know. They're learning each other. They stay together, they paint, they share the technique. And then what he influenced the Balinese was to encourage the Balinese to paint the landscape. Because before Spies come and live here, there were no one in Bali paint the landscape.
Although the son of a Balinese farmer, Agung Rai has no formal training in landscape architecture. However, he has traveled extensively and has his own ideas about gardening.
The way how I built this museum, the way how I created the landscape, the garden, I have to be involved. I will be very angry if someone help me. You know, or my wife come here to help me. I will never let her to come here because I know we will be fighting. What I wanted is not like what she wanted. It's different than what I wanted. So I'd rather do it myself.
Agung Rai believes that the Arma Gardens are beautiful because they have what the Balinese call taksu, an inner power that is divinely inspired, a gift from God.
Ubud has a very, very strong vibration of the mother soil here. The mother earth is so strong. So it's kind of, Ubud means a healing. It's medicine to healing people who are frustrated, who are depressed, who are depressed, who are stressed like that. You know, when you're here, you really feel it. How strong is the impact from the nature.
Agung uses the natural beauty and power of the land to create his garden.
I studied the structure of the land, you know, the leveling of the land. Oh, that's just beautiful here. We don't need to change it. We just clean it in the bottom. We put this and put it. Try to combine it. My idea in the nature, to combine it. You know. Actually, I didn't do much here. Mostly, it's so nice already.
After creating the garden, Rai experimented, refining the garden through his intuition and the spirit present in the surroundings.
We believe we are also here surrounded by the spirit, positive spirit, yeah, and negative spirit. We try to combine it to be the harmonious. That's why not only the landscape, the offering. Every day, look at, we have offering to keep it in balance. So the people who stay here, they really can feel it in peaceful. They're really inspired by the landscaping here. The taksu is there. The spirit is there. The spirit of your power is there.
Next, on the Gardens of Bali, we'll see how the spirit and color of Bali's birds have inspired an exquisite garden oasis.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Deardorff. Where would you go for a home equity loan?
Well, banks have the best rates.
But banks only lend money when you don't need it.
Advana National Bank is different.
Got to move all your accounts there.
Nope, just call Advana. One of their loan specialists will show you how to use the equity in your home to pay off all of your bills. Get one low monthly payment and save hundreds of dollars a month, plus a tax deduction. Call Advanta at 1-800-580-1015. You don't need to have money in the bank to get money from a bank.
Cody, can you say that?
12, 13. They can't get that far. Uno. Carita, yay! You little ham.
Get the keys. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
Now you see it. Now you don't. You can make beams, pipes, and wires disappear with an Armstrong suspended ceiling. Panels drop right in, then lift right out for easy access. Choose from bold looks, subtle textures, even grid-hiding designs. So if you don't want to see this, and would rather see this, see us for Armstrong suspended ceilings.
Available at Lowe's and other fine home improvement centers nationwide.
Give people quality faucets at reasonable prices, and they will come back and buy your sinks. Give people quality sinks at reasonable prices, and they'll come back and buy your bathtubs. Give people quality bathtubs at reasonable prices, and they will come back and buy your toilets. Give people quality toilets at reasonable prices, and they will come back and buy your shower doors. That's the Sterling way, and that's the American way. This is Sam Davis, Vice Chairman for Sterling. Thank you.
They know where you live, and they're already in your house. Millions of airborne irritants like pollen, bacteria, mold, and smoke. Take control with the best microparticle air filter, Filtrete from 3M. Filtrete captures microparticles better than ordinary filters, up to 30 times better. And Filtrete is used by the American Lung Association's Health House Project. Should anything less be in your house? Filtrete filters, another 3M innovation.
Welcome back to the Gardens of Bali. Bali is a beautiful tropical island, a natural home to many species of plants and animals. In this beautiful setting, one man planted his dream garden and also made it a sanctuary for rare birds.
Inspiration was actually a dream since I can think. I always had the wish to have a bird park, to have a botanical garden, and I always followed my dream somehow. I left with 16, I left Germany and traveling around Africa, South America, Philippines, and I ended up in Indonesia.
Located on the main tourist route between the southern beach resorts and the mountains, Edie Swoboda took a 4-acre pie-shaped piece of ground and built a tropical home for plants and animals.
The bird park was the brainchild of Eddie, a German jeweler, who was an amateur gardener and was allowed to exercise his wildest fantasies on a 2-acre plot.
Built on former rice paddies, the bird park is defined by a series of lawns and water features. Entering the bird park, visitors are often surprised to see a carefully planned, diverse garden, even before seeing any animals.
When you come at the entrance, there is one fountain with the crane statue. And there we have water lilies and lotus flowers. And all these lotuses, they are from Asia. And water lilies, they are, I imported from Florida. They're coming from Florida. And also we have the Amazon water lily. And all the other ponds, we have different collections of the water plants and water gardens.
Once into the gardens, plants and feathered animals mix in a natural environment that lends itself to beauty and freedom of movement.
Most of the zoos, there is a large amount of cages, and you see cages in cages, and you see the animals, but usually zoos, they don't care much for the gardens, much for the beauty of the surrounding. And I wanted to combine both of them. I want to give to the birds a really nice environment, natural habitats.
This central lake is truly a cohabitational experience for plants and animals. While delicate Tanzanian flamingos lounge on their own island, Australian pelicans mill by the lily pad.
The Flamingo Lake, it's a large lake with an island, and I created a forest on this island. I created grass area for the flamingos, and on this island we have 12 flamingos at the moment. Soon we will get one dozen more, and I hope on one stage we are breeding the flamingos also on this island.
This is Heron Lake, a natural home to those majestic birds.
The Heron Lake, it's the lake where we had the first time herons coming wild from the rice fields, so we gave the name Heron Lake. And on this lake we put also a lot of fish every day, and every day around 3 o'clock the wild pond herons coming from the rice field. Sometimes we have 30, sometimes we have 50 herons coming in, and it's quick and easy food for them.
For shade, the Bali Bird Park has placed several lumbums, which are antique rice barns, in the park. Opened only in 1995, the Bali Bird Park is shaded with a diverse collection of rare palm trees. While much of the garden is lush, this cactus garden has no problem with the heat. Although its long-term survival through Bali's rainy seasons is in question.
They are doing not so well in this climate because it's too humid, and maybe one day we can build a special cactus area which is covered.
The Bali Bird Park also features rare Komodo dragons, large reptiles native to the Indonesian island of Komodo. These unique creatures grow up to 10 feet in length.
A lot of people ask us why we have Komodo dragons at a bird park, and the answer is because all the birds, they evolved from the reptiles.
In addition to tourism, the Bali Bird Park also has a serious conservation mission.
We have a lot of indigenous birds from Bali. We have, for example, the Bali myna. What we are trying at the moment is to save this bird and to set up a breeding program. And we are asking like different zoos and bird parks around the world for help to give us Bali myna breeding pairs they have, because we need different bloodlines also. And we hope one day we can release them again to the natural habitat if we are lucky and being supported by the Indonesian government, and they are protecting the environment and the natural habitat.
The Bali Bird Park is becoming increasingly well known for their Birds of Paradise collection. While many zoos are striving to create natural habitats, few have placed the kind of emphasis Edie Swoboda has on cultivating gardens teeming with a variety of life.
I chose the birds because that's my hobby before already. I love birds. I love the colors. I love their whole actions, and I think they go really fantastic with the flowers, with the gardens, and they bring life into the gardens.
The entire park exudes a peaceful, calming atmosphere that is characteristic of the Orient.
I love the scale. I love the fact that it's almost like a large Japanese garden. It's a homage to nature, but it's also a homage to excessive decorativeness. It's really bejeweled, and there's lots of ideas, but it sort of meanders around. It's incredible to see those sort of waterfalls dripping over the rarest palms and ferns and cycads, and to hear the sounds of those rare tropical birds and the monkeys and the gibbons, and all you need is a sort of, hippopotamus to come out of your consomme. It's an incredible place.
Throughout the park, Edie has placed many water features where delicate mists cool visitors and animals.
The lotus pond, we have all different lotuses from Asia. We have the lotuses, the double lotuses from Japan. We have one lotus from America. It's the American yellow lotus.
With plants and animals from around the world, the Bali Bird Park is a delicate environment which must be constantly monitored and maintained. In the far corner of the park is the Swan Lake, a romantic spot for animals, whether they walk, swim, or fly.
One message which I want to tell the people is to love the environment and to protect the environment better.
When we return, we'll meet an artist who has created his own tropical paradise.
America's Front Porch. Discover the many architectural styles of the past and learn how to turn your modern-day porch into a private paradise. The Porch, America's window to the world. Tonight at 9, only on HGTV.
To demonstrate the unique construction of a Simmons Beauty Rest pocketed coil.
I wonder what would happen on our mattress.
John, we don't have a Simmons Beauty Rest.
Individual pocketed coil springs to reduce movement and help give you
John,
undisturbed
we don't have a Simmons Beauty
How much
Rest.
less movement will you feel on a Simmons
John,
Beauty
we
Rest?
don't.
Only Simmons has the Do Not Disturb mattress.
Katie?
Simmons, bringing you better sleep through science.
Every day, more people are choosing Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse. And here's why.
The only thing small about Lowe's are our prices. Aisles big, prices small.
Find a lower competitor's price and we'll match it.
Plus, take off an additional 10%.
We shop the competition, so while their prices are up here,
Lowe's prices are down here.
After all, add a T to Lowe's and what do you get? I rest my case. When it comes to home improvement, Lowe's knows.
If you practically live in your garden, have we got the credit card for you? The Yard Card. The only credit card that gives you points for whatever you buy, wherever you buy it. Points that add up fast toward free lawn and garden gear, all with no annual fee. For a special low introductory rate, apply today for the credit card that gets you growing. The Yard Card. It's a no-brainer. Accepted where you see the Novus sign.
6 miles melt around her. Legs, knees, feet, toes send thank you cards to her soul for convincing them 6 miles was possible. The soul thanks them in return for their hard work and dedication. How nice that she can pat herself on the back without moving a muscle. A reward for outrunning 1,000 excuses. Again.
Welcome back to the Gardens of Bali. This country road lies just outside the artistic town of Ubud. As life passes by, few dream that a barely marked opening hides the entrance to one of the area's most imaginative gardens, the lush hideaway of jeweler Jean-Francois.
You are in Bali, in Ubud, in the Puri Idaman, the name of my place. Puri Idaman signification is like a dream coming true.
To find Jean-Francois's garden and home, one must venture down a narrow, steep path and across a gorge.
I found this place by one day I've been walking around in Ubud and I happened to come here and I really fall in love with the area.
To reach his home, Jean-Francois built this steel bridge with his own stylized ornamentation.
And then you cross this bridge, it's like coming to another world, you know.
Once across the bridge, Jean-Francois recreated nature to his own design. He kept the sauvage, or natural look for the area, but added sculptures and other pieces of Balinese artwork. And, of course, there are steps leading up the steep hill. Along the way, Jean-Francois also created lily ponds, which flourish in this environment of mixed shade and sunshine.
Every time I leave the country and I travel abroad, I bring plant with me.
Johnny is a jeweler gardener in the tradition of Eddie Swadoba, who did the bird park. And he's created this, incredibly bejeweled little paradise up there, which is very overdone, but it's a horticultural, miracle that he's got these plants from everywhere and managed to fit them onto this very tight-packed little scheme on an incredible ravine, and built this love palace at the back, and continues to sort of, to decorate it more and more exotically.
The front yard is filled with lilies and other flowers which thrive in a series of cool ponds. The Jean-Francois garden grows well because he has contoured his garden to the natural slope of the land. On the upper flat land, Jean has created a series of unique areas, each secluded by shade trees and blooming with flowers. In this garden room, Jean-Francois has added an open structure covered with grass. This artificial shade gives visitors a cool spot to catch the breezes and enjoy the garden. One special pond leads to the floating atelier or workshop of Jean-Francois.
I really like this area because it's really peaceful, and then especially in the morning with the sunrise. And my workshop is situated on the top of the pond, so you are inside in the middle of the pond, and then you hear the water around, and then from the window, it's window all around, you can see the garden and the flowers and the birds, so it's really good for the inspiration of my work.
The workshop is decorated with pieces of Balinese art. Inside, Jean-Francois created jewelry that he exports around the world. This jewelry is made from a collection of semi-precious stones, crystal beads, and indigenous art that Jean-Francois combines to make new creations.
I mix all kind of stone nobody's seeing to mix, you know. Because for me, it's not the value of the stone, it's just the beauty.
In the middle of a day's work, Jean-Francois often stops for a tropical treat that he makes from coconuts grown in his own garden. Coconuts are harvested the traditional way. The fresh coconut is then split open, and a natural spout is made from a piece of the husk. With the aid of a mixer, Jean-Francois creates a garden-grown beverage that couldn't be fresher. Set in this garden surroundings, Jean-Francois' home also is made from local materials. The materials for the wall area are a combination of specialized ash and antique material from Bali.
The wall is made out of fossilized volcano ash and the antique door from north of Bali. Actually, the reproduction is not the original one, but it's a reproduction of an old antique Balinese door, but it looks fantastic, you know.
Jean-Francois has continued the garden motif into his outdoor bathing facilities.
Nice thing to be living in the tropics, especially in Bali. You can, you know, you don't need to have inside bathroom. You can have outside bathroom because you're spending much more time outside in the nature than inside.
Upstairs, the master bedroom was designed to take advantage of the scenery of the local rice paddies. Jean-Francois has also found his own garden Shangri-La, surrounded by beauty and tucked away in a garden corner of the tropical island of Bali. These rice paddies provide food for the townspeople, but they also serve as a feeding ground for the local wildlife.
I feel like I'm really, really lucky to be living in a place like Bali, you know, and I live here because it's so beautiful and so peaceful and really timeless, you know.
When we come back, we'll meet some rather unusual gardeners when the Gardens of Bali continues.
Welcome to HGTV's exciting new season of specials. We're opening doors across the country to meet people with a passion for their homes.
First, visit the homes of the world's most famous supermodels with our special presentation, Model Homes. Next, join us at home with Kenny Loggins. Watch as this rock and pop star reveals his personal side and shares what home means to him. Then, America's favorite crafter takes us on a tour of the arts in her hometown. It's Crafters Country, up north with Carol Duvall.
New specials every week, all this fall on HGTV, Home and Garden Television.
Every day, more people are choosing Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse, and here's why.
Fall is for planting, and Lowe's has everything you need for your lawn and garden.
Fertilizers, bulbs, grass seed, mums.
A jungle's worth of trees and shrubs.
All back for a full year.
Plus everyday low prices guaranteed.
Ask a nursery specialist.
A Lowe's nursery specialist. We really know our stuff.
Ask
After all, you can't spell flowers without Lowe's. When it comes to home improvement,
Lowe's knows.
The best way to stop suffering from allergies is never to start. This is Nasal Crown. You heard right. Nasal Crown. It's allergy prevention. Nasal Crown doesn't just relieve allergies. It flat out prevents them, preventing the natural defenses in your nose from going haywire. So you can live like a person with no allergies. Nasal Crown's like nothing else. No drowsiness, no jitters, no dependency. Nasal Crown. The best way to stop suffering is never to start.
Nothing cools off a hot roof on a hot sunny day like Cool Seal, elastomeric roof coating. It forms a thick rubber-like blanket of protection against roof corrosion and beats the heat. America's #1 elastomeric roof coating. Whee! Cool Seal, protecting mobile home roofs since 1945. Beats the heat. Available at Lowe's.
So, you're gonna take your act on the road, huh?
Don't worry.
Well, at Alamo, the going rate is going down.
Drive happy.
All the way down to $21 a day in Florida. And everywhere else in the U.S., just $29 a day. Is this a fun country or what? Call 1-800-GO-ALAMO today.
Don't worry. Drive happy. Drive happy now.
Welcome back to the Gardens of Bali. While no garden in Bali could be considered large, this is one garden, however, that does cater to giant visitors.
2.5 years ago, my wife Gail and myself were up in central Sumatra, and we saw some of the problems that the Indonesian elephant was having. There's not a great deal of assistance from the outside world towards the Indonesian elephant.
The Indonesian elephant is a distinct subspecies of the Asian elephant, unique to the island of Sumatra. Today, there are fewer than 1,000 Indonesian elephants living in the wild because they have rapidly been losing their habitat.
Because where they're living now, they're driven from village to village. They're driven day and night. They have not a moment's peace in their life. And when an elephant's driven, it doesn't breed. So, tantamount to the problem of the moving the elephants, from driving the elephants from place to place, they're not breeding because they don't get a day's peace. And an animal that doesn't feel comfortable, doesn't feel safe, doesn't breed. And that's what we would like to get through to people, is that these elephants need to be located to areas where they can live in peace, and their numbers then will naturally start to breed up. They will, all by themselves, will start breeding, and their numbers will then automatically start increasing.
So Dean John and his wife decided to start a company to save some of these animals. And that quest led to the planting of a natural habitat for the big mammals called the Love Garden. The Johns started by preserving the natural contours of the land.
We created the garden here at, in Taro with several things in mind. The ecology was one of the uppermost things we were aiming at. We didn't want to take away from the natural beauty of the area. And doing this, we've used the rice terraces that were already in place. We've drained the rice paddies, cleared all the rice out, dried the area, then seeded with grass. We've then planted various plants with various things in mind. We've divided the area, the parkland, into two areas: non-elephant areas and elephant areas. The non-elephant areas are specifically designed not for elephants.
The Johns made a conscious decision to make the Elephant Love Garden a natural ecosystem.
The non-elephant areas, we also have the small dam system running through the non-elephant area, which gives us a water supply for drinking and for bathing for the dams. We've selected various plants to go in these dams. The reasoning behind this is to help filter the water, help clean the water. So we've tried to make it, as I say, ecologically friendly, but also there's a cycle involved where the elephants are involved with the animals are there, and everybody's helping each other to make things happen.
The lush, rich soil of Bali, combined with the natural fertilizer of the chubby chasers, makes growing the organic garden easy.
The gardens here are specifically, they're very easy to grow. Basically, you take a cutting, you put it in the ground and just let it go. There's fertilising is not necessary, even though we have copious amounts of various fertilisers. Some of our plants grow maybe 3 or 4 inches a week, and probably the fastest growing plant we have here, which has amazed me, is the papaya trees. That they've attained a height of between 2 and 2.5 metres in just 3 months and already bearing quite a bit of fruit. I like the lay of the rice paddies. The rice paddies, to me, are a very peaceful and a really beautiful form of gardening within their own rights. Myself and many friends and tourists spend many hours just sitting back watching rice paddies, just looking at the rice paddies, watching the people work. I wanted to keep that natural terracing of the rice paddies. This has a dual purpose. We've done this, and the banks of the terraces themselves act as a barrier to the elephants. The elephants will not climb these banks, so we can easily separate people from the elephants by using these embankments. People tend to stand on the edge of the banks, and they don't climb down to where the elephants are. The elephants don't come up to where they are. So if we need to or wish to separate elephants from people without fences, we do it quite effectively using the banks of the rice terraces.
In designing the habitat, the Deans kept the elephants' needs in mind.
We've tried to keep the gardens looking natural, but we've built them, planted them in such a way that they are slightly formalised and giving them that little bit of a cultured look. The plants that are here now will grow probably 4 to 5 times the size they are now within the next 6 to 12 months. This will obviously increase the overall effect of the garden. But we would like people to come here, look at the gardens and see the various plants and diverse plants that are native to Bali. Gardening, everybody has a green thumb in Bali.
When we return, we'll see how Bali's premier landscape architect transformed his own garden into an eclectic oasis.
The Tri-Metal from Orlamar. The Tri-Metal is the first club in America to use the revolutionary alpha miraging metal. Alpha miraging is 85% harder than pure titanium, causing the ball to explode off your club face. To receive your free video with more information about the revolutionary Tri-Metal from Orlamar, call the number on your screen. The Tri-Metal's longer than the leading metal woods on the market. And the Tri-Metal is over 68% straighter than all clubs tested.
For more information, call now.
It's a thin line between newborn and stillborn, full-term and premature, between healthy and sick. If you're pregnant or think you are, getting prenatal care early is the most important step you can take. Don't put your baby's health on the line. Take care of yourself so you can take care of your baby. Find out now about getting prenatal care. Call 1-800-311-2229.
The all-new Mitsubishi Galant. Totally new styling, nicely equipped at $17,990.
What if you could have a deodorant soap that goes beyond fresh and clean, all the way to soft? You can. Fresh Deodorant Caress has clean rinsing moisturizers for skin that feels soft and smooth. Plus, there's gentle deodorant protection to leave you feeling clean and shower fresh. Discover the difference for yourself. Call us and we'll send you a full-size bar absolutely free. Fresh Deodorant Caress with rich moisturizers and gentle deodorant protection that lasts and lasts. Fresh Deodorant Caress. Discover how you can feel this soft, this clean, this shower fresh. Experience the difference for yourself. Call now for your free full-size fresh deodorant caress bar.
Save time from pulling weeds. Get Easy Gardener's Weed Block Landscape Fabric. Weed Block stops weeds for years, and it's easy to use. Simply unroll Weed Block over the planting area, working it around plants, then cover with mulch. Patented microfunnels molded into the fabric allow air and water through while blocking light and weeds. Weed Block is strong and durable, lasting up to 4 times longer than other brands. For the choice that makes the difference anywhere you want to control weeds, use Weed Block. Stops weeds for years.
Welcome back to the Gardens of Bali. This is the garden of one of the island's foremost landscape architects, Mari Wijaya. Born Michael R. White in Australia, Mari Wijaya settled in Indonesia in the mid-1970s and adopted his Indonesian name. Over the past 3 decades, Wijaya has become known not only for his commercial work, but also his own home garden, located in the town of Sanur, which is in southeastern Bali.
I've tried to create an original look that's a mix of all the different styles of Indonesia. So we have megalithic pieces from East Indonesia and things from Australia, but also highly decorative pieces from North Bali and Java and Sumatra. So I've mixed it all up, and it's a garden on, always under development. Like any sort of artist's house, it's always a studio that's throwing ideas and bits and pieces out to be weathered and used if needed.
Over the past 3 decades, Wijaya has become known not only for his commercial work, but also his own home garden, located in the town of Sanur.
It is a very picturesque little view, framed by the low eave of that house. To admire that garden from within the deep and dark confines of that pavilion is a great treat, because it's just a long, narrow view like the Japanese have in their houses. And it's very, very complicated and very multidimensional.
Mari Wijaya's gardens are a mixture of styles. He collects his garden ornaments from around the world during his travels.
Which is a great thing of traveling when you're a gardener, that you bring plants back and you bring artifacts back, and you can create little theme courts.
Each of his gardens becomes an experimental workshop, which may find its way into a larger garden somewhere in Asia.
All of these looks are tested in this courtyard first, as I try and piece together the elements, like a couturier will do in his atelier. So it is sort of an open-air atelier here, where I'm feeling my way through the different decorative looks, doing battle with my various hobbies.
One of the most photographed areas of Wijaya's garden is called Villa Bebek, the garden off Mari's work pavilion. Wijaya judges gardens on their theme, visual poetry, composition, and lighting. The gardens of Villa Bebek attempt to harmonize nature, sculpture, and architecture.
All of the pavilions have water gardens, which act as a sort of a cooling, passive cooling system for the sitting and dining areas.
The Western influence can be easily identified by the massive swimming pool in the center of a courtyard. To create his gardens, Wijaya first constructs the hardscape, the architectural elements, such as sculptures and other building materials, and then adds the softscape, or the plants. Mari Wijaya's garden is indeed a multicultural experience here on the island of Bali. Next, we'll visit several modern gardens which showcase Balinese landscape design and provide a respite for adventurous travelers. For questions or comments, please write to Gardens of Bali, care of HGTV, Box 50970, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37950. Be sure to include your daytime phone number.
Brought to you by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile retailers.
Explore new lands. Take a walk on the wild side. And
get those hands dirty.
With HGTV's Rebecca's Garden, it's jam-packed with quick, fun, and practical tips to keep your garden blooming all year round.
Pop! And the weed is gone.
Make your garden portable. edible,
You can be growing these in your own backyard.
and unforgettable. Rebecca's Garden. Coming up next, only on HGTV.
Sports cars are great if you're into leather and chrome. But let's hope you're not into wood. Presenting Sonoma by GMC. Vortec power and a choice of 4 different tuned suspensions to make sure you never get bored. Sonoma by GMC, where sports car meets pickup. Now get Sonoma with 0.9% APR financing or $2,000 cash back on all 98 models during the GMC Summer Sell Down at your GMC dealer today.
I helped my dad build this place. Well, help. I was so small I could barely swing the hammer. But he taught me a lot about tools. He used to say, you can buy cheap tools every couple of years. Or you can buy Stanley once.
Since 1843, a company from New Britain, Connecticut has been helping people do things right. Stanley.
I even take my tape roll fishing. Well, that way I'll know how big a story to tell.
Hi, I'm Mariette Hartley. If you shop for blinds at retail stores, you know what sticker shock is. That's why I'm so excited about the Premier Blind Factory. They've manufactured brand name blinds since 1959. Well, now they've decided to sell blinds direct to you at factory direct prices, which are 70 to 85% off. And that's on minis, verticals, wood blinds, even honeycomb shades from the biggest names like Levolor and Infinity, even Hunter Douglas. No retailer can sell blinds that low, and it's easy to order. Just call Premier at 1-800-BLINDS-1, and we'll send you our sample catalog and measuring guide absolutely free. Then your custom-made blinds will be shipped free in 48 hours with Premier's lifetime guarantee. So call 1-800-BLINDS-1 right now. The Premier Blind Factory. Only a real factory can sell blinds this low.
Nobody does it better.
Welcome back to the Gardens of Bali. While Bali could always be described as a garden island because of its natural beauty and man-made landscapes, the concepts of the grand planned garden is relatively new.
In a way, the great private gardens of Bali are in hotels. And whereas in America you have the Rockefellers and the Deere fortune and, the great industrial families sponsoring these brilliant gardens. In Asia, it's the Hyatt and the Four Seasons and various, corporations that are building these brilliant gardens. People always love the roofscape. That's always the most impressive thing. At 150 villas, when it's probably 300 pavilions, and the way it's stepped down the hill like a Chinese, sort of the last empress style. The expansive view and the very English Balinese gardens interwoven with the whole Chinese roofscape is what gives it that wow factor on arrival. People start to walk into it, they realize it's got that little cozy thing of like a Greek village, whereas you turn a little tight lane, it sort of opens out into a juicy court, and then down to an incredible sea view, or beach view, or parkland view.
Looking across Jimbaran Bay is the Holy Mount, the spiritual center of Bali, and like Mount Olympus, home to the gods.
The Four Seasons was the latest in the exotic Balinese village-style hotel. We fought to keep it more Balinese cozy, more warm and juicy. And I think Tim Street Porter paid it the ultimate compliment when he said it's a garden of 1,000 postcards.
Bali is the southernmost outpost of the Chinese and Indian influence carried by the Hindu migrations 5 centuries ago. This is reflected in the beautiful Balinese sculptures found throughout the exotic garden.
It does have that lovely thing of the villages, of the Chinese walled villages, and very dressed courtyard corner views of beautiful statuary and stairways and pots and water gardens. And it's a very rich garden, a very rich palette. So that's quite on its own, the Four Seasons, being such an incredibly ornamental 150 villa big hotel.
The formal oval pond at the hotel's entrance features statues of musicians. The pink shrubs in the outer order are adenium, while the pond is planted with lotus and bulrush plants, complemented by the pink Balinese frangipani. One of the garden's most romantic areas is the foreshore walk, which offers beguiling vistas to the beach. Modeled on the famous Australian promenade, the style here is unmistakably Balinese. The swimming pools also blend elements of international style with local Balinese artifacts.
The swimming pool is lined with a green slate that's almost a celadon green slate from West Java, and also the coping element on the pool and the steps and the pavement limestone from West Java. So rather than having tiles and sort of more modern materials, we've tried to use very natural local Indonesian materials, and that was one of the driving principles of the hotel, to keep it completely traditional and local.
Even when the hotel is full, the gardens seem private because of a myriad of quiet respites, which all impart the naturalism of the landscape.
There's lots of things to discover. That intrigues people, the sense of mystery and romance. And it's a very rambling, poetic garden.
Another great hotel garden is located on 36 acres of a former coconut plantation in southeast Bali. Traditional Bali temple gardens used compositions of waters, trees, and plants arranged around open-air pavilions. When Madi Wijaya redesigned the gardens, he added a new element: lots of color.
Well, the Bali High was inspired by a trip to Kew Gardens in England, in London, the Royal Botanical Gardens at Kew. And I was so impressed by the use of colour and texture in English gardens. I tried to bring a more mass planting but colourful, what I call the tropical Cotswolds look, and introduced it in the botanical gardens, the horticultural gardens at the Bali Hyatt. And if you go there today, you can still see, sort of 15 years later, the very mature English mass planting, now with lots of cactuses and things added, because 5 years after doing that first run through the gardens, with about 100 gardeners, I went to the botanical garden in Bogor, which is one of the world's largest tropical botanical gardens, and was inspired by the old forgotten cactus areas where crotons were growing through the cactuses, and it had a very coral reef look. So I tried to do a sort of, aquarium garden on land at a huge scale in the courtyards. So there was a mix at the Bali Hyatt between the tropical Cotswolds and the romantic courtyard cozy encrusted coral reef look.
Another colorful and textured Balinese garden is located in the lush highlands in Bedugul. The area is known for its wild flowers and the colorful reflections of Lake Bonyun. While gardens of commercial properties are modern and innovative, the owners go to great lengths to ensure that their gardens blend in, reflect, or pay homage to the traditional Balinese gardens landscape. Gardens, too, are immersed in ceremony, religion, and beauty. Balinese gardens play an integral role in the art, innovation, and history of this tropical oasis.
It's really a very dynamic culture, and the Balinese artisans, because the gardeners are really not just labourers, they really are like artisans. Once they're taught to garden on a larger scale, they just go through like Zorro and the Gay Blade, and they're sort of swish, swish, and creating just incredible marvels of an outdoor wonder.
Thanks for joining us in the Gardens of Bali.
Thanks for joining us for tonight's primetime preview.
Coming up on Home and Garden Television, at 8, Before and After takes you through a major residential remodeling project of a 1950s concrete block bungalow. At 8:30, Extreme Homes goes to San Francisco for a look at a water tower that was converted into an apartment. Then at 9, stay with us for our special presentation, The Porch, America's Window to the World. At 10, The Good Life shares the story of a former Sports Illustrated supermodel and her artist husband who moved across country to open a popular restaurant and lodge. And at 10:30, Homes Across America visits the charming German-style farmhouse of an Illinois antique dealer and his wife. It's all coming up tonight on Home and Garden Television.